I remember leaving, everyone was exhausted. I remember leaving Pornichet and saying there's going to be an accident on this event. And I didn't think it was going to be me.
Tom Dolan.
No, I really felt good this year. It's probably the best I've ever felt going into a Solitaire du Figaro.
Je le trouve moins stressé que d'habitude d'ailleurs. Et c'est un peu aussi le retour de l'année dernière, c'est que finalement la déception de l'année dernière fait qu'il est content d'être là ce matin au départ à Perros sur une solitaire qui va être en plus très disputée. Avec les revenants, là, les anciens, des jeunes qui vont super bien. Et donc voilà, il est vraiment content d'être là. C'est une bonne chose. Je crois que le fait d'avoir gagné en 2024, ça lui a mis un coup de pression, il ne s'y attendait pas. Un peu de gens qui l'attendaient là et il a eu un peu de mal, je crois, à encaisser ça, ce statut, son statut qui a un peu changé. Et là, je crois qu'il le vit mieux aujourd'hui. Il a eu le temps d'encaisser les choses, de se remettre en question, de repartir de l'avant vers l'avant. Et...
Hello, little update on board Kingspan. All's good. We left about 8 hours ago, just in the middle of the English Channel right now, and the dance has started. Hard to know if west is best or not, I don't know, we'll see. I'm a little bit further west of the fleet. There's a weather front coming in from the west, so the plan now is to sail out there and sail into it, get an absolute pounding, and then the wind will shift, and then we'll sail towards Spain. That's it. I'm still locked up inside my little cave. We just had 24 hours and a lot of quite strong wind. It's calming down now, there's only 20 knots. We had up to 30, 35. Bit of a rough night. But outside, the sun is shining.
The first one I really enjoyed. It was very interesting from a weather perspective. Big wind shifts, fronts to crossing the Bay of Biscay to London, Spain with a little kind of sea breeze effect. So for the first one was very interesting.
2 days in loads of wind, we're going to do 2 days in no wind. The two most tiring ways to sail. That is the moon. And that is Kingspan. That is all the bloody competitors. Ah! Alright lads, here we go. 1.5 miles to the finish line. And 2.5 miles to the second person behind me. There we go, finish line in the middle of nowhere. They had to cut the race short.
Perfect timing with the sun coming up over the mountains just as we passed the line. All we needed was a few dolphins. But no, it really was perfect. Before the start, everyone was saying that it could be very much a speed-based race, but I don't think it was. It was very much all about strategy and being in the right place at the right time, which we planned a lot with Gilda, and everything worked out.
Para el ganador en Vigo, el irlandés Tom Dolan. De esta primera etapa. Un fuerte aplauso que mañana.
So the first one was very interesting. The second one was very difficult because there was no wind at all, and it was just a kind of, not almost luck, but you had to try and stay lucid a lot with very little sleep.
Bit of a wild night. Bit of an all-nighter for all the fleet. Wind was all over the place, up and down and left and right. Here we are lads. Things are heating up. That's what it's going to be like for the next 48 hours.
Woo! Start of each leg I felt good. I really understood the weather. I had the weather clearly in my head. I didn't really look at my competitors at all. I wasn't too worried about the final objective. I just concentrated on the important things and prepared the weather, and I think I did everything almost perfectly.
Look at how that cloud is moving. Insane.
Definitely by far the hardest leg I've ever done. I don't know how many nights we were at sea, 4 nights I think. The wind just turned and turned and turned and turned, so all we did is manoeuvre and manoeuvre and manoeuvre and manoeuvre, and then drop sails, high sails, drop sails, high sails, try and trim them. Quite happy of how I sailed just until the last time. I lost an easy 20 minutes in the last mile or so, but apart from that I was fairly happy, yeah. So we had the third leg from leaving from Pornichet to Le Havre with a sprint down the English Channel. The weather forecast was quite bad for that part for the final 24 hours with like force 8 or 9, so 40-45 knots of wind under spinnaker, so going downwind. So everyone was a little bit nervous about that. So I was leading the overall rankings ahead of Nicolas Lunven. So what I think was important was not to look too much at where he was, because there was no point in controlling him like I would have done a couple of years ago. To just concentrate on the weather, which was quite complicated. What we did know is that once the first boats to get away from the first mark would gain and gain and gain. So we all ended up sailing around the first mark, which is around the entrance to Bordeaux at the same time.
Hello, day 2 on board Kingspan. Jeez, I look tired, sorry. Mental first 24 hours, barely any sleep, really fluky, lighty winds. All is good. Neck and neck with Luce Barriere. A bit to the left of the fleet, which is the right side for the moment, looking good.
And I just sailed straight west. And when the wind came in, I managed to have a very comfortable lead. So passing the Pont of Penmar, I was leading the leg. Nicolas was about 3 miles behind me. So I was leading the leg, I was leading the event, going into the last night of the event, which could, I remember thinking, could very well be my last night of ever, Solitaire du Figaro. And then, well, I ended up on Île de Sang.
Ah, c'est horrible. Il y a Tom qui vient de s'échouer sur l'île de Sang.
Ouais, je suis dégoûté, quoi. Pour le moment, ça va, le bateau il tape beaucoup, mais il n'y a pas de fichu à l'extérieur. Je sais pas, je vais pas rester sûr combien de temps il faut que j'attende, là, c'est au bout de 2 heures, non?
So but I get into context, it might sound like excuses, but it's the truth is that we had a very long and complicated second leg, so everyone was very tired, including me. The beginning of the last leg was very complicated, light wind, and then we were going to finish in very strong wind. So there's only a very little short window in which we had to rest. So the important part, really the objective in that part was to rest, to recover as much as we could, because the last 24 hours were going to be quite extreme. So once we got past Penmar, we had the Bay of Augier, which is about 20 miles, just to the south of Île de Sang, where I just rested. So what we do is we have a 20-minute nap, we get up, we check, 20-minute nap, we get up, we check. So it's kind of like intense napping. So I probably had about 3 or 4 naps in a row. We were sailing up towards to shelter from the tide just at the south of the Île de Sang. I woke up from a nap and I sat back, just kind of rubbed my eyes like you would when you wake up on a nap in a bus or a train or anything like that, and I just fell back asleep again without the alarm. I just blacked out, I suppose, what you call it, that's what we say. The bang of the keel hitting the rocks is what woke me up.
Voilà. This is what my Figaro is going to end like. Fell asleep. And I'm on Île de Sang.
So the first thing I kind of thought was I have to get off the rock quickly and go back to racing, because I was still miles ahead of the others. I still needed to win. So I tried to turn the boat around, but because they have a keel, you know, the boat was sitting on the thing, so it couldn't turn. It's probably about 3 or 4 hours later, because every little bit the anchors wouldn't hold, the boat slowly moved and moved and moved, and the guys from the lifeboat were on the beach because they couldn't get in, because it was too dangerous to get in. It was the first time that the Coast Guard said, Tom, you might have to get off the boat, you might have to abandon ship, which is it's a bit of a difficult moment, because you never imagine having to abandon ship. You hear about it, but this was probably about 5 or 6 hours into the ordeal, and the lifeboat guys were on the beach said, look Tom, it's about time you get off the boat. So I said, yeah, okay, I'm coming, because I could see the beach, you know, I said, all right, I'll just jump off, I'm on my way kind of thing. And then once the Coast Guard heard that on the radio, they intervened and said, no, I order you to stay on the boat, do not abandon ship, which I understand. It's kind of the golden rule, is this, once the boat isn't sinking, you should never abandon it. So they sent a helicopter. And that's when I abandoned ship, and that's when I abandoned my boat. It's kind of automatic. You work kind of automatically because we've trained so much for this sort of situation. So you see the helicopter, you do all the kind of things. You know, he jumps in. They sent in a diver. I had to jump in. I tidied the mast. All the kind of safety things we have to do. And then once I was in the helicopter and he banked right, and I could see the boat just lying there with the sails, you know. And then once I saw the boat lying on the rocks, I just kind of broke down and started crying. To be honest, that's when it kind of hit me like Jesus. So the island was closed because of the bad weather for about 36 hours. So it was very nerve-wracking time because I was at home on my couch and I was getting videos from people on the island. I saw your boat's on the beach. By the time we got out there, we quickly realised that the only way we were going to get it off was by floating it. We had a week to think about it because the tides were getting smaller and smaller, so the boat dried for about a week, which gave us a week to empty it, take all the things that could be lost if it did sink or did get destroyed off. From a plan, and very, very luckily, when on the next high tide, the weather was perfect, beautiful day, flat, calm seas. But putting inflatable buoys under the keel and a parachute full of water at the top of the mast to hold the boat at about 50 or 60 degree angle. Adrian, Gilda and I literally just pushed it off the beach like a dinghy. A little powerboat came in and threw us a line and we towed it off and sailed it back to Port La Forêt. It was nice to be able to sail it home. Yeah, no, I definitely feel positive about the way I performed. Just winning the Solitaire du Figaro and then was winning it avec la manière, as the French say. You know, by dominating each leg, having a great leg each leg, which is almost what I did. So I definitely come out of it with a positive. I think I definitely won the respect of my competitors, maybe more so than I did when I won the event in 2024. So no, I definitely come out of it positive. Tired. I think I probably underestimated how fatigued I was, even though everyone was tired. I mean, it could have happened to anyone. It was literally 10 minutes, 3 or 4, I don't know how, like 3 or 4 minutes of too much of a nap. You know, it's the tiny little differences that make the differences at this level, so definitely learn from that.